Welcome back, everybody. My name again is Kathy, and this is MaryAnne, and we're here today. We're going to go through our chapter one. We're going to talk about MaryAnne's childhood. If you remember in the first introduction that we had, we're talking about MaryAnne's life. Her book, which is called Miracles. Um, MaryAnne was an alcoholic, and what else, MaryAnne?
Had many addictions. I did some drugs and smoked and had bulimia, anorexia, a lot of other, had a mouth like a sailor. So
Yeah.
a lot.
Wow. So going through that, Mary and I have been friends for a couple of years, really good friends, and um, her book is riveting. I read it in one night, and that's why we're here to talk about her book. You definitely will want to get a copy for yourself, and probably for I don't know. I mean, I was at the dealership today getting an oil change, and I wish I would have had a copy just to put on the table
Hmm.
because her book is just amazing, and it will definitely change people's lives. But right now, we're going to go ahead and talk about her childhood. Um,
Hmm.
I know that when I was reading it, it made me so sad
Hmm.
that you lived in a house of six people, right,
Hmm.
besides your parents. Is that right?
There were six siblings, and then my mom and dad. Yeah.
Okay, and but yet you said you felt very lonely, and
Yes.
that's so
Very.
sad.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about that? What was going
Well,
on?
um, three of my siblings were a lot older than I was, so they were in high school when I was young. So they were already in middle school, high school age. So they were off. So it was my brother and my other sister. But my father he was in the military, and so he was gone a lot, and so um, I never really bonded with him. I
Mm.
never really got that bonding with my father, and my mother, as loving as she was as a mom at that time, she used to put the fear of our father in us by saying, when your father gets home, you get better behave, or when your father gets home. So we never knew what that really meant, although he never was physically abusive to us. Um, but there was always that fear of my father. And so I did not have a loving, trustful relationship with my father. I had a distant relationship with my father. When he would come home, I was terrified. So he was not home very often. So he was only home for short periods of time, and then he would leave again. And something inside of me there was a very deep need for a father, and so I felt lonely, even though I had siblings, and I did play with them at times. But my brother, his the little guys in the neighborhood, he would want to go out and ride the bike or go play, and so I would chase him down and want to be with him and his friends. And he was gracious. He always kind of let me be there, but there was always because I was the youngest. I was the youngest in the family, so
Mhm.
I always had a sense of loneliness inside. But I think it did link to my relationship with my father. Yeah,
But don't you think, Marianne, that actually is quite common?
yeah,
I feel like
absolutely.
that a family that large, like I came from a large family
Mhm.
also, um,
Mhm.
had the same not that bad. I mean,
Yeah.
but I never really felt lonely, not like that. But I bet there's a lot of women out
Mhm.
there
Mhm.
that had kind of went
Yes.
through the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the other thing was too, because my father was in the military, we moved a lot. We
Mm.
moved
It's gotta be
almost once
hard.
a year. It was very difficult. So anytime you made friendships, you knew they weren't going to last. So you were going to move
Ah,
again. And so I was always a new kid on the block in this new school, and I got bullied a lot. I got
yeah. Mm.
bullied everywhere I went. I got chased after school. Kids were always wanting to beat me up. Girls were always wanting to beat me up. And so I got bullied a lot. And that's where a lot of the loneliness and deep depression began to hit me at a very young age. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was reading here um, that you said I began to grow more and more lonely and insecure as a child. I began to have weight issues at just
Mhm.
7 years old.
Mhm.
And then she says, and I have a question about this one, Marianne.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
says kids were brutally brutal with bullying those overweight and who wore glasses.
Mhm.
And Marianne says, I felt empathic for the kids who had to wear glasses.
Mhm.
I wear
Mhm.
glasses, Marianne.
Yeah.
Did you feel sorry for me? Was
I
it?
did. I felt sorry for anybody because at that time, for some reason, they seemed to bully overweight kids. And were you
It was
bullied as a child with glasses?
not with
Really?
glasses,
That's really
no.
interesting.
But I do know that with the kids that had, well, I didn't wear glasses as a
Oh, you
child.
didn't work. Okay.
No, that
Yeah.
wasn't
But the
until
ones in
probably in high
school,
school. Yeah.
yeah. The ones in elementary school that wore
But
glasses, I
yes,
saw,
they
yes,
did get bullied a lot.
they
Yes,
did.
and it's
So
very sad.
it is very, very sad.
Absolutely.
So I began to use food
Hmm.
as a comforter. And that's where I began an eating disorder. And I didn't even realize it until I got older, that I began to have an eating disorder because I was using food to comfort my soul and my heart.
Hmm.
And yeah. And my
Yeah.
mother was an amazing baker. She could bake. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Yeah, my mom, she should, my dad always said she should have opened a
Like,
bakery. Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. In the last 3 minutes that we have here, you also said that you fell behind in school,
Yes.
and that was because.
Well, partly because we were moving, well, a lot because we were moving all the time. Either the school was either way ahead of where I was, or it was a little bit behind. So I never quite felt like I was right. It was right for me. Usually they were a little bit ahead,
Hmm.
and so, and then also I had a lot of health issues when I was a child. I was born with a little bit of a dysfunction in my bladder. So I got a lot of bladder infections, and I would run high temperatures. So I stayed home a lot. I stayed home, and I was had to go to the doctors all the time, and I was on antibiotics all the time. So the loneliness got even deeper. It got deeper from having a lot of health issues, and then also moving, and I think I allowed um, the health issues to. I would even lie to my mom and tell her, I would say, "Mom, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well," because I wanted not to go to school.
Hmm.
So, and she believed me because I did have some health issues. So I was out of school a lot, a lot.
And what do you think? Thinking about that, when you're a young girl
Yeah,
and you're sick all the time, you're being bullied. That probably is going to carry you into your adulthood,
right.
and that leads to how women are
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
How we doubt ourselves. The
Mhm.
devil likes to lie.
Yeah.
The enemy comes in and tells us all these lies,
Mhm.
and especially when you're a young child, it can really do a
Yeah.
lot of damage, right?
But I'll tell you that when I would be home, and the reason why I felt I wanted to be home was my mother had a deep faith in God, in
Hmm.
Jesus. She was a Catholic, but she had a deep faith in Jesus. And she had the statue of Jesus on our console TV. And she always, it's the one with the Sacred Heart with his heart open. I'm sure you've seen it.
Hmm.
She had that on the console of the TV, and she always had a candle lit always. And I remember laying on the couch, and she would have that candle, and it would flicker, and it would show, it would reflect on his heart, and on his. And I remember I would just stand there and stare as a child, just look at it and look at it, and then she would be ironing, singing,
Wow.
she'd be humming and singing. My mother had a beautiful voice, so I found comfort in that flickering light on his heart and on
Oh,
him. I found comfort in that,
that's
and I didn't even
wonderful.
realize it as a child. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's wonderful, Marianne. What a story you have, and we're just at the beginning,
yeah.
and there's so much more to tell, and um,
Yeah, I
so
appreciate you doing this,
um,
Kathy.
ladies, we all have our own issues, and a lot of us need that help, And this book, I'm telling you, it's a life changer. Um, it will change your life. Miracles really do happen, and we're going to
Hmm.
talk about that later on in the next couple issues. But
Yeah.
please post what your thoughts are. We'd love to get your thoughts. If any of you are going through any kind of issues, please post,
Hmm.
or you can contact. Do we have a contact yet,
I
or
don't.
is that coming?
Yeah, that's coming.
Okay.
That'll be coming.
So we'll talk about that later on. But for now, uh, we're going to wrap this up, and we will see you probably very shortly.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, and you
Thank you
all
for
have a good
joining us.
night.
God bless.
Bye. God
Bye
bless.
bye.